Welcome to This Explainer. You know that massive, intimidating chart hanging on the wall of basically every science classroom? Yeah, the periodic table. Well, today, we're looking at how a really unique curriculum takes that daunting chart and totally reframes it. The source material we're exploring merges chemistry with theology, and it attempts to take something that usually makes students sweat and transform it into a beautifully organized map of creation. Let's dive right in.
The curriculum actually picks off by asking its learners a pretty profound question. Have you ever just stopped, looked at the universe, whether it's the stars, the ocean, or honestly, even the screen you're looking at right now, and wondered how it's all put together? Is the universe just a random collection of stuff that's somehow smashed together by accident? Or is there a hidden, meticulous logic behind the whole shebang? Well, according to the perspective we're examining today, when you zoom in on the absolute building blocks of matter, a really clear answer begins to form. To really get this approach, we have to look at the foundational theme of this heroesmartacademy source material. Drawing directly from 1 Corinthians 14:33, the curriculum establishes its core premise right out of the gate. They argue that when we examine the universe at a molecular level, we're not looking at chaos. Instead, we are looking at a divine, logical structure. In this framework, absolutely every single element has a specific place, a distinct purpose, and a predictable pattern. So, the curriculum defines the periodic table as a powerful tool that organizes all known elements based on their properties and atomic structure. Think of elements as the fundamental ingredients of reality. Just like a professional baker organizes their pantry, with spices in one specific spot and flowers in another, the source material explains that the periodic table organizes the building blocks of absolutely everything around us in a way that just makes total logical sense. Now, to keep students from panicking over endless rote memorization, the source actually frames the table as a literal map of creation. The goal here isn't to force learners to memorize a map of the entire world before they ever go on a road trip. That would be exhausting. Instead, it focuses on teaching them how to read the map using a few basic compass skills. The idea is that once you understand how that compass works, you can confidently predict how any element on that map is going to behave. To build those compass skills, the curriculum breaks down every single element box into 3 simple steps. Basically, every box on that map acts as a quick cheat sheet for a specific element. Step 1, find the atomic number. Step 2 is reading the chemical symbol. And step 3 is checking the atomic mass. The course then unpacks what those 3 data points actually mean for someone trying to navigate this map.
Okay, so it breaks it down like this. First up, the atomic number. This is the big one, guys. It tells you exactly how many protons are in the atom. It functions essentially like the element's identity card. If you change the number of protons, well, you literally change the element entirely. Next is the chemical symbol. This is just a handy 1 or 2 letter abbreviation, like H for hydrogen, just to save scientists from writing out incredibly long names all the time. Finally, the atomic mass tells you the average weight of the atom, which effectively shows you how heavy that specific ingredient actually is. Now, a completely crucial compass skill taught in this curriculum is understanding the table's 2-directional structure. The horizontal rows are known as periods, and the vertical columns are known as groups or families. Grasping the difference between how the rows and the columns function is presented as the master key that unlocks the logic of the entire table. The really important point here is that those vertical columns act like literal families. Elements in the same group or family share similar properties. Just like you might share your eye color, your height, or maybe even certain quirky personality traits with your siblings and parents, elements in the same vertical column share predictable, specific traits. The idea is that if you know how just one element in a family behaves, you automatically have a really good clue about how the rest of its family is going to behave. A perfect example of a family that shares a very specific personality trait on this map is the noble gases. They live in a vertical column way over on the far right of the table, and their defining family trait is that they are all completely non-reactive. The curriculum actually likens them to the independent loners of the elemental world. They're perfectly stable on their own, so they typically just don't react or bond with other elements at all. To put this methodology into practice, the source material highlights a few key real-world examples, and they start right at the very beginning with element number 1. Hydrogen. Its chemical symbol is H, and its atomic number is 1. That means it has exactly 1 tiny proton. It's a fascinating realization that even though it's the absolute lightest element, this single proton element makes up the vast overwhelming majority of the known universe.
Essentially, every single star you see shining in the night sky is just a massive burning ball of hydrogen. From there, the curriculum scales things up a bit to an element with an atomic number that we literally interact with constantly, number 8. That is oxygen, represented by the symbol O. It has an atomic number of 8, meaning 8 protons, and it lives over in group 16. The source points to oxygen as evidence of incredible design. Think about it. Without this specific group 16 element, human beings literally couldn't survive a single day. You are breathing it in right now, and it's keeping your body functioning. The lesson uses it as a perfect example of how a totally invisible element has a massive, vital purpose within this entire framework. To further illustrate this concept of order, the curriculum uses sodium chloride. This is wild. Take an element like sodium, symbol Na. On its own, it is highly reactive. Drop it in water and boom, it explodes. But when that explosive sodium bonds with chlorine, which is another really intense element, they lock together to create sodium chloride, which is perfectly safe, delicious table salt. Two dangerous elements naturally combine to form something we literally sprinkle on our French fries. The source uses this to showcase the absolute brilliance and safety found in chemical order. So from this amazing chemical order, the Smart Academy source material transitions right into its core philosophy, the idea that education without morality is actually harmful. The source argues that simply being smart, or just understanding how to manipulate the universe through chemistry, is genuinely dangerous without a moral compass to guide those choices. In their view, knowledge is absolutely power, but unguided power, it just leads to hurt. To reinforce this whole philosophy, the lesson points to Romans 8, 6, and 7, highlighting a biblical promise of peace of mind for those who keep their minds spiritual. The curriculum posits that understanding this incredible scientific map of creation actually has to be paired with spiritual mindfulness. It basically frames the goal of education not just as getting an A on a test, but as achieving true, lasting peace and how you actually apply that knowledge in the real world. And this highlights exactly why the Smart Academy Godly Learners series intertwines biblical morality with science education. By actively linking the how of the universe with the why of moral living, the program aims to protect students from making harmful choices with the massive knowledge they gain. The objective is to ensure that their education functions as a clear pathway that leads to peace of mind and a really positive purpose in the world. To make sure all these concepts really land, the source material tests its learners with a quick homework check. It asks things like identifying what the atomic number tells you, understanding the information in the element boxes, defining what elements in a group actually share, locating the symbol for oxygen, and finally, connecting the scientific organization of the table back to the scripture in 1 Corinthians. It's a pretty comprehensive check of both the hard science and the philosophical concepts we've covered. The curriculum leaves us with a really fascinating question to ponder. Whether you view the periodic table simply as a chart of cold, hard facts or as a divinely inspired map, how does pairing scientific education with a strong moral framework actually change the way we interact with the world around us? It's definitely a unique perspective on the fundamental building blocks of reality. Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown of the source material, and I will see you in the next explainer.